Cindy's on the line.
Yes, she come on.
I think I wanted to weigh in, even though I usually don't. Hi, everybody who's viewing. I think we're getting distracted by a few things, which is the intention, I think, of the powers that be. And one is, first of all, there are lots of young people in Trinidad and Tobago who party and drink. Laws aren't even really enforced to stop kids from buying, right? I used to go and buy my uncle's rum at 9 and 10. And he liked to buy his rum because I was exact. I would not leave without my nip of rum. And I knew exactly. Now, I didn't drink, yes, but the culture is such that that happens. I think that video is intentional because it's meant, first of all, to malign young Black people in Trinidad and Tobago. So what if 4 14-year-olds were drinking? There are hundreds of thousands, I think, or at least 100,000 children in Trinidad and Tobago. If 4 are drinking, the others were learning or desperate to learn. And I think we need not cast such a big brush where we're casting the kids aside. You know, a 14-year-old could drink alcohol and still become your next vascular surgeon, saving your life. A 14-year-old can smoke marijuana and still become your leader tomorrow. And the 1%, as we like to call them, their kids are partying. They're probably partying down the islands, so we won't see it. They're probably on a yacht somewhere between Trinidad and Tobago enjoying life. But it doesn't mean they're not doing the same things. And I think we have to stop vilifying children. I say it's part of that mental enslavement. I agree with that terminology for a simple fact that we do like to blame each other. Because if we blame each other, then we don't hold those up top accountable for their...
Hallelujah.
And so it's so easy for us to just point fingers because pointing fingers is what they want. They want us to keep blaming each other. If I blame you for why my yard doesn't have water, then I'm not going to ask Wassa why you don't have better pipelines so that me and my neighbor can get water when we want. If I blame you for why I can't get to school tomorrow, I'm not going to ask my Minister of Transportation, why can't I get a bus when I want to? So that I don't have to beg somebody to give me a ride. I don't have to beg somebody or the person cutting style on me when they didn't take me where I wanted to go. Because if I had adequate public transportation, it wouldn't matter. I would just bypass. I mean, that's what New York City thrives on, right? New York City's MTA is what made New York thrive for so long. And they made it accessible to everyone and everywhere that you could leave anywhere in the world, whether you knew English or not. If you were willing to land in New York and seek out opportunity, you could get to it. You could enter a school if you had the right papers and you could learn something to advance yourself. So we've got to stop the finger pointing. I think it's easy to get angry when people vote one way or another. The truth is, Trinidad and Tobago's elections, a lot of people did not vote, right? And the reason for why people don't vote is varied. Some people don't vote because they're so disenfranchised with everybody who's running that they're like, it doesn't matter to me, I'm still going to suffer. It's not that the people who are doing well don't vote. Actually, it's the people who do well who vote because you're voting to keep your interests aligned. And actually, if you're doing really well, you support everybody so that they know no matter which party is in power, they still have
their business going.
So you. And so I think it's time, the goal, the hope would be that Trinidad and Tobago and other countries, so this isn't just a Trinidad and Tobago problem, is that they elevate the conversation. You know, slavery only worked in part because slaves victimize each other. It's so good that a slave reported another slave. Victimization was so strong that I wanted to report the other slave who was trying to run away because I knew if that person ran away, Massa was going to have everybody else beaten. You may lose an eye. You may lose a finger. They may sell off some of your children to teach you a lesson because you support the one rebel slave who ran away.
Ali have something to say.
Sorry, Ali, go ahead. I didn't see you.
No. I kept my finger up because I wanted when you were finished for me to ask questions.
Sure.
But Cindy, we have to understand everything is a two-edged sword. Yes. Everything in life is a two-edged sword. Mm-hmm. You don't cast blame, you accept what is.
No, I didn't say.
I'm not
who do we blame?
But this is the thing, though, Cindy.
We have to elevate the blame.
We can blame. We can blame the government for what they do, right?
We have to blame them.
The government is supposed to do this, they're supposed to do that, but no government, not even here in the United States, Cindy, do what they're supposed to do if the people don't demand it.
So if you tell people take away a get, they're not going to listen to you saying time to demand change. So in order to get people to start listening to the change that they need, you actually have to come in as an ally, right? You're an ally. And so the way you show allyship is coming in to say, okay, all right, if you tell a child don't touch fire, it burns, very few kids are going to stay away from fire just because you said it burns.
Yeah, they want to prove it.
Fire and they felt pain, and then you follow up and say, okay, what did you just feel? Did that feel good to you? Did you like how that felt?
But at some point in time, Cindy, if that child gets burnt.
Yeah, but keep in mind what Keino said, right? We keep forgetting there are multiple generations at play here, right? I don't talk about politics much, even though I follow it very closely, especially in Trinidad and Tobago, but I don't talk about it because I'm like, you know what? At the end of the day, I got some other fish I need to fry first. But like Tobago, I watched Tobago and I said to my mom, I said, the downside to this 2020 election in Trinidad and Tobago, but Tobago especially, is the election is being run virtually. Right? We're all talking about COVID and the absence of laptops for children. But the same goes for older people. Very old people home, they don't even have a smartphone. They definitely aren't really on social media. So if your campaign is only run on social media, you're missing a demographic. And let's be real about Trinidad and Tobago's demographic. Right now, the birth rate in Trinidad and Tobago amongst people all age is about 2 children, if so much. The average 40-year-old and people under 40, they're having 2 kids. But the people in my mom's generation, their parents had 8 to 12 children.
Mine had 12.
Is in that age group, the baby boomers, there's still a lot of them in the country. They still make up a big part of the electorate. They make up a big part of the people who actually understand they need to vote and not just say, I'm going and vote. They know they still have to go and make sure their finger got red. And a virtual campaign missed those people, meaning those people still mostly only know PNM. They did not hear the message of the other people. They didn't hear the message, right? And so unless you truly went to their houses multiple times and really explained what was going on and why your new party, your new campaign, your new goal for the country were in line with what they hoped for, because I know it sounds ridiculous, right? You're like, these people saying they want change, but they didn't vote for change. That's not true. Those who wanted change went to vote. Those who thought change would be good, but still don't understand how election changes anything because they haven't seen the change, they stayed home. Even though they'd like to see the change, they stayed home. And then those who don't realize change is needed because they're pensioners, the only time they're going to know change is needed is if they stop seeing their $3,000 show up in the bank. But most of those baby boomers, they're actually living the best life they've ever had because most of them are now retired and they finally got a gratuity. Even if it's a small gratuity when you
they get money
to the US, they finally have money. So in their minds, my life is good right now. It's the best life I've had. So they're not going to run out and change the status quo when for them status quo is, you know what, I could finally help myself do something. Yeah, I could finally fix my house. Mm-hmm. But that's what we see in Tobago, right? People are fixing houses in retirement, not before.
Which is crazy.
People are finally able to finance their children's education in retirement, not before.
So when they're dead, when they think that the children and them going up for their education and them have to end up in a nursing home but and die, and they can't bury them.
Then they blame the kids. But it's a lopsided, inverted economy right now. It's an economy that's actually very dependent on people finally getting gratuity. And I think that's where I would like to see this conversation elevate to is what is it going to take to help people understand, one, let's really understand what demographics mean and what your electorate is, right? And who is it that casts a vote? And recognize that this was the very first virtual election in Trinidad and Tobago.
Trinidad and Tobago, yes.
Vote virtually, but they campaigned virtually. And the virtual campaigns only meet the people who have the resources to see your campaign, only meet the people who have the resources to repeatedly hear the story. So like, my mom.
Can I just add in, what about those people who didn't hear anything, and on election day, the machinery went there, picked them up, drove them to the polls, and they vote who they traditionally vote for?
Exactly. And
that's it.
So we shouldn't be angry. The people who wanted change, they voted.
They voted.
I looked at
look
those.
How much votes Watson got.
Yeah, there wasn't a single constituency in Trinidad and Tobago where the party who won, no matter which side it was, won with a resounding margin, right?
No.
The margins were close across the board. And so I think if we stop just being angry at the people and look at it the way the politicians are looking at it right now,
they orchestrated.
Strategists are looking at it right now, the way their pollsters are dissecting those numbers right now, what they're seeing is, you know what? We have to work here. We have to work there. So we may not be hearing it, but they're going to give jobs in certain small demographic corners where they realize the voting bloc either switched on them or came very close to switching, right? And that's what that interesting budget is going to be. I know we're all waiting for the big budget, but let's be honest, right? Most people in Trinidad and Tobago and the world over, you don't listen to the budget. And if you're listening, listen for the one thing that matters to you, right? If the thing that matters to you is, are they going to raise taxes or are they going to finally reinstate taxes? That's all you're going to listen for. If you're somebody who pulls bull, you want to hear what happened to gas. You want to hear about that. But the other thing that we need to do is, we don't just say that people need to learn civics, but if you know the civics, Allie, then let's teach them here today, right? That's
Cindy, we before elections, right? I have been on this show, three times?
Yes.
4 times? But I have been making lives for how long? Over 2 years. I have been out there. So when I speak, I'm not speaking from today.
No, and that's why I'm saying don't get distracted by
I'm not distracted. I'm disenchanted.
Right, but don't get disenchanted by it, because actually you made a difference. If the people who are listening to you weren't listening, the margins that were won would have been larger.
Would have been larger.
But the problem is, ask yourself who wasn't listening. And it's not because they don't like Allie, you know. They weren't listening.
Allie wasn't running for anything.
No, what I mean is the media. They weren't hearing you.
Allie wasn't running for anything. But what I can say is that I have my, prior to me coming out of the party, I made my impact. And I know when we talk about the elder people, it's one thing for people to say they study politics, but ask them what have they done outside in politics. I have flown to Trinidad and Tobago, and I have flown to protest. I have flown to Trinidad and Tobago to go to rallies.
The thing with Trinidad and Tobago, I'm finally showing all my colors here. In Trinidad and Tobago, the media controls the protest narrative, right? So you may have flown to protest, but I guarantee you 90% of Trinidad and Tobagoans did not even know a protest occurred, far more that you attended.
Well, here's the thing, and I agree with you with the media. That's why I'm saying we here, since we said the media controls what people know, we can't teach people civics here. If it's not in schools, people won't know.
So then you can't blame the people. I'm getting back to that's why you can't blame them.
But if we can't blame them, Cindy, then we can't educate them, because nobody's going to change it. How's it going to change?
Go upward. Well, again, I'm saying people are listening. Maybe enough didn't listen to swing the vote the way you wanted it to go. But that doesn't mean they didn't listen.
But I am saying, Cindy, whether they voted for, whichever party they chose to vote for, I am speaking on myself. Just like I can say to, Keino, who does his coding thing, Keino, how many people will you be willing to whatever? Everyone has a personal responsibility based on where they are to decide what they are going to do.
about this truth, right? Most of us, we're able to sit here now and proselytize and talk because we live comfortable lives. You know, I joked the other day, I told my mom, and I said, you know, if I had to be working a 16-hour job, I mean, I do work long hours. That might be not the perfect analogy, but if I had to work 16 hours where all I had to do for 16 hours was make sure I didn't lose a finger, make sure I didn't blind myself because the machinery needs to be operated properly, and then get home, feed my kids, and try to hope I can wake up tomorrow to face the person who's breathing down my neck at work. The last thing I'm concerned about is the politics. The last thing I'm concerned about is the civics.
Nothing's going to change.
The last thing, well, no.
Things going to change.
So remember that 33% of the electorate who's that age group, the baby boomers, they're aging out. They're dying. There's a whole new group that's learning. And I've seen people in the comments saying that. We can't forget them. But we can't just kick them all out. And also, right now, the issue about the computers is if the government doesn't help, I agree, they should do it. Nobody else should do it. It should be them. But if they don't, do we leave those children to become the next generation of kids who are forced to rob everyone, including us, if we go home?
I can't do that. I have to help.
Well, I graciously tell people who can, please do.
Perfect. But what I'm here to say is to those who can, while you're helping, don't also, while you're giving them something, tell them it's your fault by Guinea. Because if you do that, they're going to take it from you and say, well, F you, I'll take it, but I don't want to hear anything else you have to say. And that's what we have to be careful of. If it looks like you only give gifts to get people to make a vote, they're going to teach you what they really think about your gifts. If you truly have gifts, your gifts have to be in and out of season.
Well, I guess that's why the message that the PNM gave of take it and vote otherwise worked. Because then that's why it worked, because these people were saying we never heard Watson before, or we don't believe in this party, so we will take it and we'll go back to PNM. Because
Watson story, oh my God, I could go 10 hours talking about the Watson story.
You understand what I'm saying, though? People perceive things.
I've been at the airport in Trinidad and been stranded at the airport in Trinidad with everybody else, struggling, pleading, begging to get on a plane to Tobago or from Tobago. We missed a flight from Port of Spain to Miami, which needed to then...
welcome to the club, Cindy. Welcome to the club.
Yeah, but let me explain, right? We missed a flight because the woman at that airport in Tobago decided I spoke too well.
Oh, welcome to the club, Cindy. Welcome to the club.
By speaking to her so well, I was too empowered. So she punished us by making sure we didn't get on the flight.
Oh, that happened to me as well, too.
Now, could I have talked about it? I could. Could I have said, no, but because what I said, man, we're going to lose over $3,000 US today.
Because we missed the connecting flight, didn't it?
I said, we're also going to have to pay for a hotel in Trinidad because there's no other flight out of Trinidad today. And all she said is, well, it's other people here who have flights to connect to as well. I said, I walked through your hall and everybody who has a flight is connecting at 11 p.m. tonight. I'm telling you, our flight leaves Trinidad at 3:50 p.m. today. Those same things. I've been at those airports and I watched Watson showed up. I watch him walk in. I watch him walk up to the airport employees. He said, hello, folks. Watson, do you care? Watson, do you care? Or they getting to go home. And lo and behold, a jet lands. Now, some people are going to say, Watson didn't do the jet. The government was going to give the jet anyway. Well, we sat there for 8 hours. No jet came or went. We were in Tobago. I watched people stroops in as Watson walked in to help people get tickets and get refunds for the new fee. And I still heard people, after he helped them get that, still say, but he's too loud for me and he's too loud. That is a mindset again, and that's a culture. And that's not going to change in one election cycle, which is 6 weeks long. It's not going to change in 6 weeks. Because we are people who are cultivated to believe, right? The meek shall inherit the earth.
We were meek in a box.
We were told that. We were told that the meek will inherit. So if you seem unmeek, My whole lifetime, from the time I went to nursery school, especially if you grew up Christian, and not just Christian, Judeo-Christian, any of the Abrahamic religions, you were told that it's the meek ones, it's the calm ones. So somebody shows up looking unmeek, it doesn't matter if what they're saying sounds great. That deep red eye is saying, but my granny used to tell me, meek will inherit the earth. So I'm going to go for the meek person. It doesn't matter what the words are. I'm going for meek. Yes, they need to change, but they're not going to change in 6 weeks. They're not going to change in 6 weeks.
And meek can't speak.
When they don't change, what I don't want is in my heart to feel like a kid's future was held hostage or ransom because
of Keith Rowley.
Teach Keith Rowley a lesson. That troubles me. It troubles me deeply, and which is why I came on, because this show is very influential. Maybe only 82 people are viewing right now, but tens of thousands of people watch these shows in the end. And I don't want them hearing that in the end, we who are abroad especially, we don't care in the end if you don't do what we say. And my mom and I have these debates offline. I watch some of her lives and I say, why'd you say that? I don't agree with that. I don't think that's going in the right direction, because it's an emotional answer, but it's not practical to what we want in the long run. And we always have to remember, what do we want in the long run? Now, I'm going to take my time back. I apologize for joining, but I really wanted to elevate this conversation. We need to take it higher. And the higher goal of this conversation isn't the finger pointing, blame. That was slavery culture. It's dictatorship culture. It's everything we want the people to think differently from.
Tell us about the mindset, the slavery mindedness.
Well, it takes a while. It's like an abused person, right? Have you ever met a woman whose whole face is battered to pieces? I've met women like that, women who are raped every night. But you ask her, why don't you just leave? And she'll say, I can't leave yet. I don't have something better to go to. It's the same thing with elections, right? I am going to vote for you if I believe my life will change. But if my life is not going to change, why am I going to rock the boat? At least I know what happens with this party. That's what's happening here. You know, we talk about, oh, Laventie and change. See, let's send change. But if one guy from Betham gets into law school and the media makes it look like all of Betham just got into law school, he will take it over the other media always showing that every crime is only Betham, right? And so they're going to vote for the place that at least shows one happy story. They'll vote for the party that seems to at least help the media highlight a happy story. Now, I think the media needs to be more objective. I really do. But I think even they are part of that mental mindset that is, but if I don't show support for these people in leadership, I lose my business, I lose my company, I lose my newspaper job. My kid might not get into that #1 school when the SEA results come out. My kid might not get that scholarship.
Something just hit me here right now. So you think Keith Rowley, the Minister of Education and others don't know what demographic of students will suffer without?
Okay. There was a thing posted, shared by Liz and other media outlets that said there are 4,000 children on the island of Tobago, right? An island of 60,000 people, 4,000 children are in need of a laptop or some sort of personal computing device to successfully make it through this virtual school year. 4,000. If I could hear it, and I'm living here in Las Vegas, Nevada, the Prime Minister's heard it. Okay? So yes, they've heard it. The THA has heard it. Now, a Google Chromebook is $250 US. You multiply that 250 US by 4,000, and that's 1.2 million US dollars. That's a lot of money. Well,
it's less than the money that's missing in tourism.
Yes. So the resources are there. I saw someone ask earlier, what about the $5 billion that was allocated, $5 billion TT dollars that were allocated for education in the last budget? How was that spent? Well, that's one person asking, but in the heat of your debate, nobody saw that thing, and I kept putting it up on the screen because it should be asked and it should be answered. But the truth is, $5 billion is such a big number that the average person isn't going to ask about it because it's too big for even them to comprehend. But they'll be focused on, I hear $20,000 was in Coco Reef Hotel. And like that one, when I heard that in the last election, referring to Watson, because somebody felt the need to message all of us, even though we weren't campaigning for Watson, because they want to say, this is your family, and let's say all their family down here receiving money. And I ask this, and I will challenge everybody in Trinidad and Tobago. Trinidad and Tobago has a unified banking system. Why does somebody need to travel from Trinidad from
20
to hand 20,000 TT to somebody in a hotel in Tobago when all they could do is put it in a bank in Trinidad? They could have given it to them in Trinidad. But it sounded so salacious that even educated minds ran with it. And I'm like, you people, that's not smart. But we're conditioned to lash out over 20,000 and stay silent over millions and billions because it's too much for us to comprehend, right?
How much was it to fix the Prime Minister house? How many laptop train could I get?
Well, let's go with the Red House. The Red House cost 180 million TT dollars or something in that order.
More than that, much more than that. I think close to 500 million.
Close to 500 million. It'll take 7 million TT dollars to provide every child on Tobago with a laptop, right?
Yeah, and I think that they're doing that in Tobago. Based on some things that I read saw last week, I believe that they're doing it, but they had to be shamed.
They're not doing it fast enough. And
they had to be shamed in order to do it.
The school year has started. It's not fast enough. They have to be ashamed, but people are also taking photo opportunities to give out one or two. What happens
exactly
in that class, right? I would feel bad about that. But I think
and Ebenezer School get somebody give them laptops?
They did. Our good friend Nadine. And, literally, Nadine is a good friend of our family. We don't consider Nadine an enemy.
No,
right?
I don't.
We do not consider Nadine an enemy. I think it's important for people to stop putting emotion into politics so much that they take it as personal assassinations when someone says, you could have done a better job.
That's right. You should.
I
think the media highlighted such an important point there, whereby you don't consider these people enemy. But Nadine should have known better. If you understand.
But how is she going to know better? What is Nadine's political history? Her history is young. She's still growing and learning in politics. They're called handlers. I'm going to if we're going to do blame here, the blame is on the handlers. Right?
Yes.
And the handlers for so long have thought it was okay to give people little trinkets and pat themselves on the back that they're training Nadine, who actually means well. I honestly
think she does.
Well, I really think she meant well in going to Ebenezer for a childhood school. She heard the need. And she took the money out of her own pocket, which is the classic thing that a government official says now, which is unnecessary. I don't need you telling me you took money out of your own pocket. People, when you're actually in charge of a budget and allocations, stop telling me you took money out of your pocket, okay? You may have taken $2,000, but you're in charge of a treasury for your division of millions. I want to hear what's going to happen with those millions. I want to hear that you guys had an emergency executive council meeting and laptops were ordered today because nobody needs to fly out of the country to order those laptops, by the way. And as a governmental entity, you can reach out to Google directly and say, we want Google Chrome at manufacturer price. And Google Chrome would gladly give you guys that at manufacturer price in exchange for a thank you.
Yes.
You can do it, okay? You can do it.
But they want to keep the people at this level so they wouldn't.
People have to suffer so long. And when they finally get it, it's like you just got manna from heaven.
From heaven.
They don't have to suffer. There are funds allocated for emergencies. Education is an emergency. A lack of the resources for education is an emergency.
You must have contingency. You must have contingency set up for emergency.
Wickedness in high places when it comes to depriving kids of a laptop. That is human wickedness. And nothing no spiritual about it. That is a pure human wickedness right there. Right? If you can feel comfortable depriving Arlon's son of a laptop, but be proud that your child in your house, in your 1% neighborhood, as we call them, has a laptop, a cell phone, and you're proud to tell people they know the phone better than me. They know the laptop better than me. They know this. Whatever you want for your child, when it comes to education, I feel very strongly on this.
Yes.
I'm going to indict you as guilty and a human failure if you ignore children.
I wanted to stay there. I put up something asking to buy 4 laptops. And the minute I put it up, something tell me, you remember what happened with your son when he was selling those t-shirts?
And what did I tell you? You called me.
Yes, I called it to say, Cindy, I do something a little while and I'm feeling guilty.
I said, even if we're going to help, that is not how I'm going to help. I don't want anybody's money coming in to help with a laptop. I told you that. I said, take it down. That's not what we're going to do today. I feel strongly that we have got to stop these finger arguing, the finger job placement, right? So literally, because my son just got a little 1-year contract at the hospital, everything that's been done to my community is suddenly okay.
Okay.
Because my child was given a 1-year contract. That has to stop. But the only way we stop it is if we want to understand.
So ladies and gentlemen, I bring up the idea with my daughter and my son. My son said, how many laptops you want? And I told him. He said, you don't have to do that. And if you're doing that, let Cindy help you set it up through the fund. Because I have a whole lot of friends there, a lot of nice spiritual friends that went into my inbox asking me, give me the number, Mama Coco, I want to send. And I scrap it. So my son said, how much you need? And he said, okay. So months ago, I did ask Arlon to send me his mailing documents because I was going to do you a surprise. So I asked some guys in Trinidad, and one of them said, I'm from Marabella, you know. I said, it's okay. Cindy said, Mommy, slow down. So I just gave my son your name and your mailing stuff. And today, Arlon is what? Arlon, who are you today? Who your kids are proud owners of what?
They have iPads, tablets. But, you know, in so much as we've helped Arlon, and I'm excited about that.
Not Arlon alone, but we're not going to call names.
Handfuls of people. That troubles me because we're still creating a disparity. And that's what troubles me.
Well, I'm not doing it to everybody.
I know.
Who God choose out to receive, I have to do it.
Right.
This is how I walk in.
But I came on the show because I am hurting that only some people are being gifted. When it comes to children, and maybe I'm biased, but I spend my life helping people have children. The last thing I want to see is people then suffer children, right?
Can't do that.
Because it says, suffer little children to come unto me. This is not how you suffer them.
This is not what God wants.
Terminology doesn't mean that. That is just a mistranslation, by the way. Suffer little children to come unto me. You don't starve them. You don't beat them. You don't deprive them of the tools needed for advancement, just so that 10 years later, they feel beholden to vote for you for $500.
Yeah.
It's
ridiculous.
So this upsets me tremendously. It upsets me that out of a need for safety, they've justified spending 1.2 million TT dollars on a bulletproof Mercedes-Benz. They justify spending $900,000 without import duties and taxes because they're exempt to bring in high-end vehicles for government ministers to drive around when they used to be okay driving around in Toyotas.
Yeah.
But we have to hear ad nauseum for weeks about people not having food to feed children to go to school, about claiming that if a kid asks for a second box of food in school feeding, they're greedy. School feeding boxes, have you ever seen what's in those servings? The belly lang. You know, I remember school feeding of my time. I know I'm now an older woman. School feeding in my time was the 90s, 80s and 90s. That's when they started doing school feeding in Tobago, at least. And they always brought so much extra that kids could eat.
Carry home.
Teachers were taking extra boxes to carry home for their spouses or their boyfriends.
Alon trying to call.
Always getting food.
Yeah.
Alon have his finger up, Cindy.
Oh, Alon.
Okay, and it is alleged from next week, I believe, they stopping that school fooding program.
What?
So you see where we're going again.
Yeah, it's unnecessary though. So if that really does happen, I'm gonna hope that this conversation today is elevated enough that people who are good-hearted enough are gonna say, no matter what, we're gonna be held accountable for what we did to our children.
Feed the children.
You can't starve them but expect them to stay awake in school and learn.
Hello.
You can't starve them but then wonder why they're not engaging, absorbing. You can't starve them and then blame the teachers for poor test results. You can't starve them and ask why it is that they're making our country look so undereducated when we're telling the world we have a 95% literacy rate. You can't starve them and then say we helped another country when they were in crisis. And I'm not somebody who likes to throw the word crisis out because I think a misuse of the word many times, and it's like chicken licking. So while we may not have a crisis, we're nearing one if we don't fix it. And we can't keep leaving people to suffer and expect that if their children suffer, these children are going to grow up to suddenly know that they're not supposed to rob, steal, and kill.
They are going to.
We can't be angry that 14-year-olds are drinking when every day they saw mommy, daddy, uncle, nanny, granny. That's all we do.
Harvest.
We drive around for the next party. We drive around for the next fete. Mommy makes sure she gets her ticket if COVID isn't in place so she can come to America for the festivals. She needs her escape. She needs her release. Auntie comes home every year for her carnival so she could act whatless for 2 days before she goes back to her good job. If we say that's the case, we can't then suddenly indict 4 children by circulating the video. And also, we're even doing worse. We're now saying all Black children in Trinidad and Tobago are like this. Come on.
No. I'm from Tobago. You from Tobago? Princess from Tobago. Keino from Tobago.
Used to buy cigarettes, but he didn't like buying the pack because he was a frugal smoker. I said to my mom, I'm going to start buying packs of Du Maurier cigarettes so I could sell his singles because I'm not going up to the shop buying more singles for him. He's going to buy his singles from me. My point here is sometimes when you see your kids display certain things, figure out how you can use that to grow their entrepreneurial mindset. How do you use that to grow their talented mindset, their designer mindset, their interest in theology? Use what's going on there. If there are 4 kids drinking on a video, this is an opportunity for intervention. How many people really know that kids shouldn't be drinking home? Right? When you're serving your kids from age 3 Guinness and milk, let's stop it. We're doing wrong things. We really think kids like black because the black is tasty. It gets them drunk.
And give them a shandy.
Like it. Kids like shandy, right? A 14-year-old drinking shouldn't alarm you. They were drinking and consuming alcohol since they were much smaller. Let's stop it.
Toya, how young you were when you take your first drink when Joanna home.
But the older folks always give us a drink and tell us that it's for the worms.
I don't think Princess hear me.
I don't know if she's hearing. There she is. Can you hear her, Princess?
I can hear.
Okay.
I was
can hear.
asking, I could ask you
18,
when.
9.
All right, Toya. All right, Toya.
I think she
take your. What age you take your?
For my mother, 18, but
Okay. So you never steal none of them.
But my first drink, I was 16.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Stop. So I think it's time
Young people let's drink.
and to become about big things, big issues. I really am going to take myself off the feed, but we have to remember those things and stop vilifying the children, right?
Yeah.
Kids doing videos now, and everybody like, oh, the children and them so sexualized. Really? Where do you think they learned that? Where do you think? Who do you think they were watching, whining and juking so hard in the wine? Right? Okay. You literally see kids dancing, and when a kid can't dance well, what do you say? They might bring back that one day now your family and they must send back home that girl that she can't wine. You make those jokes, but then you're shocked that she knows how to wine. Make up your minds, right? Make up your minds. And anyway, I'm done. Thank you so much.
Well, you're welcome, Dr. Duke. Thanks for your interjection. It's not that she's saying what I am saying, but I am saying again, we learn from the top. And what they're accepting right now is what I cannot take. Don't accept us in mediocre stuff. Don't be out there for election, more music than what your plans are. Your manifesto being hidden with all this loud music, and everything just went crazy. We have to get ready for the next election. I don't know when the oppositions will start in Tobago. I don't know when PNM will start, but I know PNM campaigning already. And our lives here on Facebook, they're very elevated. And I'm not here because I want to tear people down or so, but at the same time, when it comes to children, I do not play games, not even with Keith Rowley and Alwari. What is good for the goose? Trust me, Ganda singing she song coming for what she wants. And we are very selfish in Trinidad and Tobago. And the people of Trinidad and Tobago, Mama Coco and blaming on you. Sorry. We minds ending. Things not nice. The haves are too many. Too many people have too much. And too many people right now don't have anything. They have and they have not. The space is too wide. And if you don't want to give laptops to the young black boys and black girls, trust me, you who giving your kids, it only will be for a short time because the war begins. Although don't charge me for sedition, it is what it is. If you have and I don't have, and I want what you have, and I can't buy it, I'm going to take it. Because I want what I want. And that is criminality. You see, we never find out what caused young people to leave Mokorapo High School and running around town now with a gun. Until we find those reasons, then we could afford to get a reason now to solve that problem. It is a problem. It is a crisis. And forcing school to open now, when the kids aren't ready with the tool of the trade, forcing teachers to be teaching kids Baba Bunga because they don't know anything about even coding. We ain't ready. Our population not prepared for school opening. I don't care how pretty the Minister of Education is. Baby girl, I think I'm pretty too. You ain't ready to open schools. You guys just looking at America to take guidelines. We're not ready. If 3 months, some kids stepping ahead, because they have computer. What about the kids who don't have it and didn't get that class? Will we have remedial classes? Would we go back a whole class? Where would the poor people children be when it's time for common entrance? How would they excel when we don't have anything right now? Arlon John didn't beg me. Yesterday, I think he was shocked last and he said, Mama Coco, like I want to cry. He was shocked with the gift from my son. The other woman in Trinidad, to tell him.
I was just saying, like, God is really using to bless some people, because I telling you, last week my daughter started school and she was training on that little phone to do she schoolwork. And when I come home from work, and I was now saying something I was telling my wife, and when I go through my phone, I was like seeing where your son send this to me, and I don't know nothing about it. So I telling my wife, and it's like I want to cry in front of she. I say, wait, God just using some people to bless me. During this COVID pandemic, when things were tough with me, it had certain people just bless me with groceries, bless me with things, you know. I just say, like, me don't know, God has some angels out there for me. I didn't know where. So that's why I was telling Allie Gee, please, don't stop. You just keep doing what you're doing. Your blessing is sure. You mightn't see it now, but your blessing is sure.
Arlon, I don't do anything for blessings. I give freely from my heart, and I also stop giving from my heart also. So,
no, God, Ali, stop. Ali, not do that.
Mama Coco,
Ali,
Mama, you see that word that you used tonight. I forgot what is his name. Bard, where you say people disingenuous. Some people would smile and tell you they will do this and they will do that, and they wouldn't do it, Mama Coco. But you know me, I talk my mind.
Well, that's not
and if
anything.
I say I'm going to do something, I will do it. And if I say I'm not, I'm not.
Okay, well, no, well, we ain't
and I think we have to allow her to feel
the way she feels. That's right.
We have to allow her to feel the way she feels, because, like, I mean, I think she wants good for the people, but if the people don't want good for themselves, there's only so much you can do at the end of the day.
Everybody want good for themselves, but how to get no. You see, Ali, wait. Let Mama Coco talk. You guys have your views. Ali, I'm not vexed with what you guys want to do. No, Ali, don't do this. Ali, stop. Ali, don't make this into a joke, Keino. What I am saying here, this live is not for us alone who on this live. People listening.
Mama
we
Coco,
don't want Ali, no.
You think people will stop giving because Ali says she not giving? I don't control other people's wills, Mama Coco.
Ali, I am not saying that either.
Exactly.
You know,
we have to let people.
Ladies and gentlemen, I think we're gonna bring the show to a close. We're supposed to go 2.5 hours, and we now 2:43. And the message that Mama Coco does bring is of good tidings, hope, with great joy. And I really do not like how we turning this into I saying what I want. I'm not angry. And Ali, please, your Mama Coco not angry. But this is just that it's all kind of people listening to us. And we are here to build. And the Bible said there's a time to build and a time to break down. And if we are building up now, we're not going to use any language to break.
She toting.
They say she toting.
No, toting. You need to say toting, but you say toting. It's toting, you mean? Toting.
Yeah. What do you mean by toting?
Toting mean like you're upset, like you know, carrying feelings. Yeah, yes, Joel, I'm toting. Heavy.
Nah, Dexter, she had to come back for stability. We okay, you know? It's a debate we having.
Like, I think that Ali she's upset by the results of the election. You know, but it's something that we all have to live with. I'm not upset by the results.
I accept it.
You know, I've accepted the results.
Me too.
You know, and where we are right now, as much as we want better for all the children, in order to get better for all the children,
we have to stay
now,
bitter.
Not bitter.
We don't have to stay
better.
bitter.
No,
I said,
bitter.
No, you said in order to get better for the children, I am saying we don't have to remain bitter.
No, we don't have to remain bitter. But in terms of who,
no, I'm not talking to you, Ali. Let me talk.
In terms of accountability, the right thing to do here right now is to make sure that every child have access to a laptop. It's not a political thing anymore. At this point, it is a moral thing. And the government has to do that. The government has an obligation.
In America, not in Trinidad, they're not doing it.
But they have the obligation to do it now.
Send the message to Keino girl.
To do it.
When you're on this live, we sending message to people. Don't say it ain't gonna happen. They have to do it. In the name of Jesus Christ.
To do it.
They have to do it. We have to put them to do it.
Princess, what you say? Who should we talk to?
I was given the authority to call upon anybody who is in authority to do Jehovah's will. And they have to do it in the name of Jesus. I am here with demands. And I am commanding Keino, get up from where you are. And I'm commanding that pretty girl that they have as Minister of Education, shut your face and put everything in place. Nobody don't rush me. My life is not a playground. My life is not Queen's Park Savannah. My life is with discipline and order. Good. God tell me to follow. He said, follow me, and I will make you fishers of men. And when God fish you guys out for me, we ain't come here to play. We ain't here skylarking. We are here to put orders down. We are here to put politicians to work. God said, I'm going to clean you up. And I'm going to take away political party from you. And I'm going to give you politics for the people. So I am here for the people, by the people, and with Jehovah's people. You guys ain't here for play. We're not here with no doubt. I was given a chance in America to suffer with 2 children. No green card. No college education. And people saying no to me. I took the no. And I take the N off the no. And I put a G. And I move. And I move on with go. So go is my motive. And I'm going to send a message to Trinidad and Tobago. I am going to send a message to Trinidad and Tobago. You mess with God, children, God is going to mess with yours. Come and show me can I'm going to call you for. And when God bless us, we're supposed to be a blessing unto others.
Amen.
And that is what the 1% doesn't have in Trinidad. They're giving to those that get. You see, the Bible that we take and we confuse, that God only gives to those that get. Well, he didn't say that to me. Suffer the children to come. We have to suffer them to come, but not to suffer them to die. Suffer them that they could become better. To come, mean they're coming up in this world. And God will direct our path. Yes. He said, behold, I come quickly, and I'm bringing rewards with me. When the woman in Trinidad saw the numbers to go pick up she laptop today, she couldn't stop saying, thank you, Mama Coco. She made a video for me. I tell her, take back the video. Take off your son's face. Take off his name. God knew him by his name and his number. The world doesn't have to know that. You can thank my son, Winston Duke. Thank Mama Coco. And while you thanking me, I'm telling you, start to praise God. For God tell me, to whom much is given, much is required of the same. And to do unto others as we would like them to do unto us. We all are alive today. But suppose we should die. We wouldn't want somebody to look after our children and give them a laptop, or give them some food, or give them a dress or pants, or give your daughter a panty. Huh? We only have power when we are alive. But I don't use my power. Let us have our closing statements. First, we start with Princess. We didn't get to talk to you much, but you said enough.